We will deal with such a long poem, that is the love song of G. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, which was written in 1915. It begins with an Italian translation from Italian from Dante's Inferno, which says that if at all he thought of sending reply through someone who may come back to earth, but then that is not possible. The hell is the flames are still as such, and then ever since nobody have heard of a person returning from hell. And then now the poem begins like this. In this poem we see like how Prufrock is trying to woo ladies and how he is incapable of that, and then how he is facing the world, etc. Let us go then, you and I. Now here the addressing is done to a fictional person, which shows that this is a dramatic monologue. When the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient etherized upon a table. So evening is considered just like a patient who is anesthetized and placed on a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels, and so does restaurants with oyster shells. So let us go through these streets which are unromantic. Let us go through the streets where people are muttering with themselves, and then let us go to the streets where there are cheap hotels, and then sawdust restaurants. Sawdust is used to clean the liquor, so the restaurants filled with sawdust and oyster shells which nobody cares to remove. Streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent. So he says that let us go in this street, the street which has got prostitutes with it, and also which can trick you, like you don't know, you will forget the direction, to lead you to an overwhelming question. And you don't, and oh, do not ask what is it, let us go and make a visit. Don't ask what is it, let us go and make visit and see by ourselves. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. So here a pub is being described, and the women are talking of Michelangelo. They are very educated and high class women, and he cannot bond with these women. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, make a sudden leap, and seeing this there is soft October night curled once about the house and fell asleep. Now here this entire stanza, fog or smoke or mist is being described, and it is compared to a cat. Just like how a cat goes about the house and then curls itself to sleep, the same way the fog is also going around the city, and it is curling around the city and it is sleeping. And indeed there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. There will be time to mutter and create, and time for works and days of hands that lift and drops a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time for 100 indecisions, and for 100 visions and revisions before taking a toast and a tea. So he says that there will be enough time. Now this is opposite to Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress, where he says that there is no time. Now here the poet says that there is enough time for us to make indecisions, not able to make decisions, like Hamlet. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo, so he is not able to flirt with them. And indeed, there will be a time to wonder, do I dare, and do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of her hair, my hair. They will say how his hair is growing thin. My morning cord, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest but asserted by a simple pin. They will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. So there will be time enough for him. So do he dare? Like, he is well dressed up, even though he's a middle-aged man, he's well dressed up, like according to the trend, following the trend, but people only give comments like, look, his hair is so thin, he's bald-headed, look, his arms and his legs are so thin. Do I dare to disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. So he says that anything can happen, any change of decisions and revisions can happen in a minute, for I have known them all already, known them all. So he says he is a very wise man, very experienced man. He have known all these women, have known the evenings, mornings, and afternoons, so he have survived it all. I have measured out my life with coffee spoon. So he says that how much my experience is. You can count on my experience by the number of coffee that I have drank. I know the voice is dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So when you hear a music from the farther room, how people grow silent, I know everything. So how should I presume? How can I take things for granted? And how can I go ahead to woo these ladies? And I have known the eyes already. These eyes, these women, their eyes, I know them all. The eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I'm formulated, spawning on a pin, when I'm pinned with wriggling on the wall. So he says, these eyes are just like how people like pin insects to a glass pane, and how they enjoy. The same way these women, through with their eyes, is to pin us through the wall, and they enjoy. Then how should I begin to spit it all, buttons of days and ways, and how should I presume? So he says that his life has almost become like the stub of a cigarette, the part of the cigarette that is not being used, and he is wondering how he can presume, how he can be in this group. And I have known the arms already, known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight down to be the light brown hair. So I know these arms, these ladies, all their arms I know very well. Some are braceleted, some are white, some are very bare without anything. And then in the lamplight you can see the light brown hair. Is it the perfume from a dress that makes me so digress? So what is making me digress? Is it the perfume from their dress that is making me digress? Arms that lie across a table or wrap about a shawl. And should I then pursue, and how should I begin? So he's wondering how he can begin talking about it, how he can begin talking about his inability to mingle with these women. The remaining part of the poem we will do in the next video. Thank you.